It's the Friday edition of NBL Now as the play-in tournament rolls on. Only one game to go before we find out who our final four are in this wild NBL 25 season. Last night, it was the play-in qualifier. The Sydney Kings season came to an end. The Adelaide 36ers were too good. Joel Peterson and Damon Lowery here to break it down. All of that. Good morning to you, Damon.
Take me, my man. Thank God it's Friday.
Yes, yeah, I'm with you there in a very big way, especially this week. Last night, it was the Adelaide 36ers who go to Sydney and get the chocolates yet again. 95-88. They took a big lead early in the game. DJ Vasiljevic got them started. Montrezl Harrell carried them through. Sydney made an almighty run in that third quarter, headed the 36ers from a position of strength. And then it was Adelaide who took over, mainly Kendrick Davis in that final term. So they advanced to play the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix on Sunday. What did you make of all of that?
Yeah, Sydney Kings season has come to a screeching halt. I'm not surprised. Even had Xavier Cooks played, I felt like at the very beginning of this season, they were too small. When everybody was talking about how all this talent they have and what an unbelievable bench, nobody even knew at the time that Kelly LePepe would turn out to be that key of a piece. So I give Kelly a lot of credit because nobody expected him to have the rookie season he was having. Unfortunately for him, he got hurt. Jalen Galloway hurt early. But before he even got hurt, they had too many people at the exact same position on the perimeter. I thought they was Bull Quall, Jalen Galloway, Alex Tui, Malawach, Isaiah Liafa, Sean Bruce, Jalen Adams. I mean, that's 7 guards, if you ask me. Okay, maybe not Tui. But then in a game where all they do is play 5 out, 4 out, 1 in, ball screen, that's all they do, Joe. The Cam Oliver-Brian Goorjian relationship never flourished. This team had flaws, man. And I'm not surprised the Chickens finally came home to roost at home in front of Kudos Bank Arena, in front of Andrew Bogut and Pondgrass and all the big brass. That team was not constructed balance-wise. I thought the balance was off, as well as the X's and the O's. Now, Brian Goorjian, the GOAT, undisputed. But this era of basketball, man, you just can't roll the balls out, spread the floor, and hope for the best. And just hope Jalen Adams can just carry you. So I just thought it was unsustainable in the long term, and I'm not surprised they're out.
Yeah, chickens came home to roost, Damon, and eggs were laid last night and throughout the course of the season. We'll get to Adelaide, but I'm keen to keep going on Sydney while you're running hot. Goorjian never got the best out of this team at any stage, did he? Their offense looked clunky. It looked really bad in some games when their defense would keep them in contests. They would get down really big in a lot of games and have to really fight their way out, as they did yesterday. It was sort of a microcosm of their season in a way. And yes, we know they didn't have Xavier Cooks, but this is probably an encapsulation more of their season than just this one game. But why do you think Brian Goorjian couldn't get the best out of this Kings roster?
He wasn't around it long enough to, I guess, build that rapport. Like, we all know Brian, but Brian doesn't know all those guys. He don't know Jalen Adams. He don't know Kawhi Noy. He don't know Cam Oliver. He don't know what makes these guys tick. That takes time. And if Brian came in with a certain disposition or a certain way he wanted to go about it, and we saw early that Cam Oliver didn't fit. So Cam Oliver only got to play when Kelly LePepe got hurt. So I just feel like Brian just didn't probably spend enough time to get to know this group. But in saying that, neither has Mike Wells and neither has Josh King. So that's no excuse. And, it's up to the coach and the players. It's a two-way street. Players got to buy what the coach is selling, and the coach has got to be able to sell something that the players want to buy. Now, this era, this style of play that they have, this small ball stuff, I knew it wasn't going to work, man. When I said in the preseason, if Xavier Cooks plays more than 2 minutes at the 5 spot, this ain't going to work. And we didn't see the best of Xavier Cooks this year, yet he still produced a first-team all-caliber type season. Now, without him, explain to me how Kawhi Noy, sixth man of the year and proven bucket getter, how does he not play more than 19 minutes last night? That don't make a damn bit of sense, man. You're already small, and this dude is one of your only real scorers. You put a lot of faith in Isaiah Liafa, and I like Isaiah Liafa. He had over double-figure games when he just didn't score a point. And I think last night he had 1 point or two free throws maybe. Bull Quall battled injury, and he's a defensive guy, but again, his offense dried up. So, yeah, man, they were flawed, man.
Yeah, they were flawed, and a lot of the points you make there are good. So the second year in a row, they finish in the exact same spot. They lose the play-in qualifier to a higher-ranked team at home in Sydney after chucking everything out of the cot last year. Now they find themselves in the same position. So, what of Jalen Adams? What of Cam Oliver? We probably don't see Alex Tui again. And you wonder about Xavier Cooks. We don't have any information on where that might end up. So are they going to have to go back and reconstruct this thing again? Can they run part of this back? Where do they go next?
They not a full blow up, but it's got to be some explosions. Some little miniature explosions got to take place. And can you please get a guy over 6'9"? I mean, come on, man. Andrew Bogut, you sitting over there, you 7'1" or whatever. Like, how are you watching this team don't have one guy over 6'9"? I know this is the era of small ball, but it's a joke. Look at the team on top of the ladder. They got size, and they play inside, and they're on top of the ladder. Look at the team that's second on the ladder. They've got size, and they're second on the ladder. Any team that commits to playing some interior basketball with not 6'6" dudes, they can run amok in this league. So they got to retool, man. I can't see Cam Oliver coming back, even though I firmly believe Cam Oliver is a legitimate import and should be in the league. Him and Brian just not on the same page. And ain't nothing that's going to happen that's going to change for them two to come to a point where they can coexist. So I'm tipping that Cam might not be here. Jalen, they got to kick the tires on that one. Jalen, as we know, is an unbelievable talent. But he's been there for 3 seasons now. Got hurt the year they won it. Last year was a terrible year, and now this year. And he was 1 turnover off of the infamous stanky triple-double. So thank God he didn't get that. But, yeah, they have to make some tough decisions. Alex Tui, he's going to be off in greener pastures probably. And you got to run it back with basically Kawhi Noy, Big Shot Kawhi, Malawach, Bull Quall. Hopefully Jalen Galloway comes healthy. And then Sean Bruce, I'm hanging on to him. And everybody else, it's up in the air.
It's going to be a really interesting offseason. So that's the Kings side of things. Let's get to Adelaide because there's a lot to talk about as far as the good goes from what they did last night. The big three, again, start as usual. DJ kicked it off. Montrez controlled the middle part of the game. Kendrick just brings them home. He said after the game to Joe Healy, that's what he lives for, those fourth quarter moments. What did you make of Adelaide's performance and the way that they, got out to that lead and then when it mattered most, were able to execute?
Styles make fights. I say it all the time. Sydney and Adelaide play a similar style. It's one-on-one basketball. Now, Adelaide got better one-on-one players. So DJ came out and was ultra-aggressive, borderline arrogant early, and I loved it. Him and Chris Golding, those are the guys that take those arrogant threes. They hunt them. So DJ knocking them down to kind of set the tone. When anything gets dried up, Kendrick Davis is one of the few unguardable guys in the league. He's going to make something happen. But Montrezl Harrell, I've always said this, Kendrick is leading the league in assists, but Montrez is the best playmaker on the team. They went to double team him early, which I thought was a mistake. He's already a playmaker. Now you're really encouraging him to make plays. And I thought, let's just see if Montrez can go one-on-one against, it's not like he's a giant. He's a great scorer, but let's prove it. Let's see if he can prove it first. They went to double team early, and that just got everybody else involved. So I feel like as the game unfolded, they knew where to go to get buckets. They don't have a lot of intricate plays themselves. It's either Kendrick in isolation, Trez in isolation, DJ off a certain kind of a pin down, which is not that intricate. But Sydney King's defense, which we thought was going to be elite, not so good. I'm watching them give up wide open threes to DJ because they helping too much when they shouldn't be. They double when they probably shouldn't double. They can't really contain dribble penetration. A whole lot of defensive flaws as well. But full credit to Adelaide because of that style of play. Sydney can never beat Adelaide. That's 4 games in a row. Now, Adelaide got to go and figure out how they can beat anybody in Melbourne.
It's a big question. That's the big challenge, and clearly that's what's in front of Adelaide. The Harrell point's an interesting one, I reckon. The lob that he threw to Jarrell Martin to sort of ice the game at the end is a really good example of his playmaking ability. Like, there's not a heap of bigs in our league who can make that pass. He rolls up top, sees a double, flicks it up to Jarrell, who finishes it off. But, you know, the vision, the execution to get there. He's 18, 8, and 7 last night. So DJ has 25, Kendrick has 24 and controls things. But, yeah, his ability to set up his teammates is such an underrated part of his game.
A lot like with Xavier Cooks. Xavier Cooks might be the only other big like that can do that. That can make plays like that Draymond Green type. And Trez, with all those NBA games under his belt, there's not a defensive scheme he hasn't seen. He goes, oh, what, you sending a double? You think I'm going to panic? Where's that guy? Oh, there he is. And then him from the elbow, him in the short corner, he can get his shot off at any time. So he was just toying with them. It was only a matter of time. The only thing with Adelaide is sometimes you never know when you're going to get that. You might get 5 minutes of Trez, 5 minutes of DJ, 5 minutes of Kendrick. But between the 3 of them, they all going to collectively get you at some point, especially against a team like the Sydney Kings. Whether they can do that again against the Figs remains to be seen, but that's their formula. Adelaide has a formula. Sunday Dutch and Lat Man, your job is to play defense and make some spot-up J's every now and then. Jason KD, your job is to give Kendrick Davis some rest and bring some stability and some maturity to the court. And Isaac Humphries, pitch in where you fit in kind of thing. So Adelaide know who they are.
Yep, they do, and that means that they've got to face up to Southeast Melbourne. 2:30 Sunday, John Cain Arena. We saw these two teams match up in round 19. It was 105-99 Southeast Melbourne. In that game, they got out by 23 in the third quarter. Adelaide then ripped off a 19-0 run, got ahead by 6 at the start of the last quarter. Southeast Melbourne come back to win it in that game. Notable that Adelaide were plus 20 for points in the paint in that one earlier in the year. Round 13, Southeast Melbourne by 20. And if you go back to round 3, Damon, these two teams met and they were both winless. And now we come full circle to see them meet in the play-in game. Before we go into the sort of the offense and defense of it, what did we learn last time, do you think, when these two teams met?
Both teams have the ability to blow leads and reel leads in. They got that kind of firepower. On the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix side, obviously they got Matt Hurt, who's a bucket. Joe Wieskamp from time to time is a bucket, although he wasn't last game in Perth. We couldn't find him. But they got enough firepower that they can kind of match it with Adelaide. And at the same time, their defense can be real leaky. For all the defense that they preach, they don't always show a lot of it. I mean, they got certain players on that team that can turn the game defensively, like Matt Kenyon, Malik Lewis, Owen Foxwell, a Glover. There's combinations that can really play good deep. And then they have combinations that are not good defensively. But the trade-off is they'll score for you. So those two teams meet up with each other. Anything can literally happen because down the stretch, no lead is ever going to be safe.
Yep. So let's look at both sides of the ball. So the Adelaide offense against that Southeast Melbourne defense. Who has the edge there?
I think Adelaide's offense has the edge because outside of the strength of Owen Foxwell in the backcourt is pressuring the ball, full court. But that plays into Kendrick Davis's hands. You don't want to be pressing this dude full court. He's faster than you. He's way more skilled, can handle the ball too good. That's only going to invite him to penetrate and bring other people into the game, if not get buckets himself. So I'm going to give the offensive edge to Adelaide in that department. The defensive side of things, they got Jordy Hunter. Now, if Jordy Hunter can stay out of foul trouble, he's actually a rim protector. He can block shots. And if he can get some of those rolls to the basket, he can put some pressure on Adelaide's interior. But Adelaide got three dudes. Darrell Martin is now playing some minutes. He played like 25 minutes. So they got the three-headed monster for Jordy. So I'm going to say advantage Adelaide in that department. So, but then you got the Sobey factor in the DJ. Oh, man. Look, his matchups all over the place. And I kind of want to tip the home team, but I feel like those styles, man, it could be in favor of Adelaide.
And then you've got the question, of course, of sort of how do you stop Matt Hurt and that Southeast Melbourne offense? Because even in losing the other night, they still put up triple figures. They had 67, a franchise record in the first half against the Perth Wildcats. Angus Glover was shooting the absolute you-know-what out of the ball. So is the advantage that Adelaide have on their offensive end bigger in your mind than the advantage that Southeast Melbourne might have on the offensive end there?
I think so. Now, Matt Hurt is the biggest offensive weapon they have. Now, Angus Glover can obviously make shots, but that's not something we're going to see every game, Angus getting 25 points. He's very opportunistic, and he can just make timely buckets. But can you rely on him to get you 25 every night? Maybe not. But I can definitely rely on Matt Hurt. Sobey now is starting to – his shooting percentages are they going – down again. So he's not playing as efficient as he was previously. That's a concern. And we don't know if Jordy Hunter going to get 2 shots or 10 shots. We don't know. But one thing we do know is Kendrick, Trez, and DJ, between them three, they getting probably 60 shots. So now, and they shot makers. They can draw fouls. Kendrick and Trez do a great job drawing fouls. Hopefully the refs don't turn it into whistle mania again. But, man, I think I just talked myself into the 36ers.
So 36ers for you?
Yep.
All right. I'll tip Southeast Melbourne just to be on the other side of the ledger, and we can reconvene and see who has the edge. But it's going to be awesome. And then, of course, the winner of that series gets to face the Illawarra Hawks in a playoff series. And, Adelaide, Illawarra, Southeast Melbourne, Illawarra, no matter which way you cut it, it's pretty tasty. So that is Sunday, 2:30. All the previews on the NBL app, nbl.com.au as well. Damon, always great to have your company, and enjoy the weekend of hoops. Damon Lowery with us. Enjoy your weekend. NBL Now will be back early next week to wrap up what should be an outstanding Sunday for the playing game.